This is my first video in English. It's my first video of sharing my channelings. I have uploaded videos on this channel for readings in German, and I mostly relied on cards and then channeling, but I'm a little nervous. I've been guided for a while now, that for a very long while, that at one point I will have to really show myself, share what I have to share, and if it just elevates me personally, because most of the time I'm pretty touched by the things that come through, that's already worth it. And just in case anyone is watching having similar feelings, let that be one more push from your spirit guides, universe, God, whatever you call it, Allah. It's in the end all just words that have been created in order to connect with each other, to synchronize what we feel and synchronize with the urge to connect with each other. So we agreed on different parts of the world, on different words, and even if you talk to friends and you use the same word, it will never mean the same thing. So that's one big thing, one big lesson I've learned in my life. Always good to ask in a conversation, what do you mean by that word? Especially if we can sense that conversations are kind of drifting in an unpleasant direction. I feel like this is a very powerful tool to synchronize again. Hey, where are we? Because we are so much with our thoughts, and if you're anything like me, I'm particularly strong in my intellectual thinking, and in the same time very strong emotionally. By strong I mean I feel a lot, and very deep, and it shows in my body, it shows in my psyche, it shows all over the place. And so I know by my experience that when I stay in my mind for a little too long, and it's so tricky because a little too long can sometimes be 10 seconds, and in other times it can be 10 years. It's always a question of where you are at on your personal path, and in the same on the same note, at one point of your life, it can be required to stay in one thought for maybe a few months, years, or something like that, and then you reach a point in your personal on your personal path where it's about now stepping out of it, and then even 1 second can be too long. So what does it mean, like too long? Too long, in my experience, is when your thoughts, like the time you spend with your thoughts, is no longer feeling like lifting the heaviness, but increasing the heaviness. I came now like to a period in my life where I really like the perspective to put things into the category destructive and constructive. So there are energies that are constructive for us and destructive, but it's always regarding where we at the moment. So this can be very frustrating. I just watched a video of someone again because this video really touched me when I watched it the first time. It's a creator from another field, and he had like rough weeks, and he called his dad, he called it the roughest weeks of his life, or week, I don't know exactly the title. I think it was week, but he talked about weeks, and I do relate with that very much. And he called his dad. And guys, if I tell you, I was, and I still am, so touched just to experience this moment of these two individuals that are related to each other, one of them being the father, one of them being the son, and being able to connect with your dad in that way and be held emotionally like that. I am planning on starting a podcast. It's all shortly. Maybe this is the first, I don't know. No, I maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe this is like a step just right before. But basically, after seeing this video, I wrote in one of my notebooks a list. Like I started the list of people I'd like to interview. And these two were like, I wrote down the creator's name, and then I wrote down and his dad, because like truly magnificent to see something like that. And what his dad, so now getting to why I'm talking about this, his dad said something so resonating and profound to me, and in a way that was so impressive, because I aim to reduce words by getting to know the energies of words, and then being able to just put it in beautiful sentences where every word is so potent that there is no need for a lot of words. And I've come far on that journey, and still I'm learning. And so if I hear people talk in this way that I aim for, it truly moves me, and it touches me. It's like a bittersweet feeling, which is my favorite feeling. um, um, his dad basically said, like, it's difficult in life when we notice that things that brought us joy in the past, that lifted us up in the past, that made us function, don't work anymore. And what quickly can happen is that we feel like we need to fix something, that something is wrong, that something is off. And as long as we are looking for a fix, we will remain lost in the feeling of feeling lost. Because it was never about fixing us. It was never about fixing something. It's about managing the feeling. And that's the intro. I will slide directly to. So I will pull a few cards later on. I am going through some intense shifts myself for quite some time now, and it sped up at the middle of last year. I had an accident, and I noticed that it was for my standard, it was a kind of more like a heavy accident. I fell down and I went to the ER because my chin was completely open. And I just had another accident just half an hour before where I injured my foot, and then that was kind of related with each other, and the whole day was already very intense, and so it was still one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. Maybe you get that feeling, maybe you don't. Just to sum it up, I was held throughout the whole process. There were people right away. When I injured my foot, there was a lady just next to me helping me up. Are you okay? Do you need help? And I felt, wow, okay. And then when I fell, so I took scooter, an e-scooter, and it slowly started raining, and I just wanted to be home to tend to my foot, and then I slipped in a nutshell and fell, and it was late in the evening. I think it was Saturday evening, like 7 p.m. and I was completely shocked when it happened. Obviously, it was kind of baffling for me, like feeling this, being in shock. You understand the concept, but when you are feeling like being in shock, it's quite an experience. And I think like 1 minute later, or not even, there was car, like it was a tiny road. It was a tiny road. Um, and I live in a big city in Germany, Hamburg, maybe you know it. um, and so I've just moved there, so it's like, yeah, I've moved there last year in March, and that happened in the beginning of August. So I have kind of a support system, but not really. And so this car stopped right next to me. Are you okay? Do you need help? And I was like, I don't know, because being in shock, you don't know. I haven't really realized or could comprehend what just happened. I didn't even realize my chin was injured entirely. I just, when they asked me, I stood up and then I saw like biggest drops of blood. Sorry, trigger warning if someone is sensitive for that. Biggest drops of blood pouring on the sidewalk, on the ground, and I was like, I don't know. And they were like, yeah, shall we call an ambulance? And I was like, I don't know. And I felt like, oh no, please don't. Way too much attention. and so yeah, I realized like, okay, there is like a family. They had 3 kids in a back seat. There was the wife on the passenger seat, and then on the driver's seat was the husband. And so they said like, can we do anything for you? Do you know that you're bleeding? And I was like, yeah, I noticed. And they were like, here are some, I don't know, first they, I don't know, I don't recall it, but they gave me some tissues to tend a bit to my bleeding, and I noticed like the only thing that would help me right now would be to get home first, to so they, I said that to them, and obviously you can't, because I see your car is full, so thank you very much. And then they were like, sure, no ambulance. And I was like, yeah, no ambulance. And then they drove away, and then I called my mom, which is beautiful to me. That was one beautiful thing, because the relationship with my mom developed so beautiful and blossoms so beautifully, that no words can do it justice. I'm just at all and grateful, and she's one of my most favorite person ever, always have been, but it feels like now we can really live it, like this deep appreciation for each other. And she didn't pick up. So then I had like a real child cry moment, and that was good. And then I cried, and then I tried to collect myself and collect my stuff on the ground, and yeah, just check out of the e-scooter, because like it's a paid offer, like in the cities, I believe probably in your city this exists too. And so my mom drives a Mazda, and Mazda is kind of a brand in my family, at least with my sister and my mom. And I love Mazda too. It's just like as a brand, a philosophy. I like what they're doing. Not glorifying them, but compared to other car brands, like it. So this becomes relevant because like I was like, she was not picking up. I was crying, and then I saw a Mazda that was similar to the Mazda that my sister drove, which was an older version, passing by, and it just for a split moment I was like, oh, a Mazda. And then this car stopped and reculé, reversed. I hope you understand. So reversed, and then another like it was a mom with 2 children in the back. And she was like, "Hey, can I help you?" And I turned around, and then she noticed that I was injured and everything. And she said, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, "No, no, I'm not." And so what happened was she drove me home. She was the sweetest. Her daughters were like just teeny tiny, I think 1.5 and maybe 3 or 4. And it was sent from heaven for sure for me, sent by the universe. Um, she just was exactly what I needed in that moment, and she drove me just home and said like, "Oh, it's on our path anyways, but we would have driven you no matter what." And she told me that actually she stopped because she just saw my bag, my paper bag that was ruptured. That was the main cause why I slipped initially. Maybe it was because I actually was overstimulated and other stuff. But on the physical realm, this was the reason why. And she had like a plastic bag in her car, and she was just thinking, "Oh, let me stop and give her a plastic bag." Like, just think how beautiful soul expressions exist in this world. This woman had her 2 kids in a bag, was probably driving home at the end of a full day, weekend, children and everything. And she stopped because she thought she could help me with a bag. And only then she realized that it was way, way bigger. What? So, long story short, this was just like a few of the encounters related to it, and conclusions, and feeling connected with everything and feeling protected and everything. I was so overworked at that time, and I felt like I need a break, but I can't because I'm self-employed. I'm independent, so if I don't work, I have no money. That was what I thought. And I really felt like emotions rising up inside of me, like specifically anger. And I was completely struck by it because I didn't understand where it was coming from. I had conclusion, but there was no event that triggered it. It was triggered by a part of me that now felt ready. I believe that's how I look. Sorry, so part 2. And then the whole universe conspired to grant me that free time that is still paid, or at least assists me in the belief that I will be fine. I will be all right. I can take this time that I need. And it was, in the end, it was 2 weeks that I couldn't work. And from there, things just sped up, and became more obvious what I need to do. I felt resistances, I still do. Basically, for like now the past few months, so I want to say November, December, there was another up-leveling in the speed. And now for the last 3 weeks, I'm on a ride. So for the past months, since that accident, I already before, but it was heightened at that point, and from there it just speeds up. I feel my emotions pouring out of me. I cry on a daily basis, at least 1 to, I don't know, infinite times. it feels really good, and I feel joyful, and I feel so much, and I experience more and more miniature wonders and miracles, as well as mediocre and big ones. And for a few weeks now, I feel like something so big is arriving. It's like this moment. In PS I Love You Day, you say it like, I try to recollect what they are saying, like, it's this one moment after which nothing is the same anymore. They say different, but yeah, it's like the old life doesn't exist anymore. That's the feeling. And I get clues left and right, and still I can feel my current reality resisting, and I mean, the human experience has been conditioned on this earth to be so focused on only the material, when our first nature is feeling. It's actually the first thing we develop in the womb. So we would be the most skilled in that. And the side, just so you know, is the last sense that is developed. So it's basically the weakest in a way, like the least potent, and also the most prone to be deceived. Just from a very logical and biological perspective. So yeah, and today I feel that a lot of heaviness is released, and while that might sound pretty awesome, the reality is that in order to release it, you have to feel it, and not only feel it, but not be discouraged by it or overtaken by it, so that you don't move through your day. Make it baby steps. Make it baby steps, and see what is just the next thing that is just a tiny bit better than what you're feeling right now. Feeling better than what you're feeling right now. And if it's just compassion, if it's just laying there watching a movie or stuff like this, that's releasing. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to be above it or something. No, that's not releasing. That's not. It's like, I try to look at it like that. If someone would come to you and say, hey, I feel really bad, and you would only say like, oh, that's fine, don't worry about it, just like look, and you would just like pull the person left and right, and look, this is so fun, this is so amazing, blah blah blah. No, you would slow down. You would say like, okay, how can I help? Which would probably lead to this person feeling even more distraught, because they can tell you, because if they would know, they would do it. That's a topic for another another video. But basically, yeah, just sitting with that person is actually the best thing that you can do. And try to sense internally what this person would need, and ask if that would help. Like, or just like not what the person would need, but rather like what are like the gut feelings, like hug, you want to eat something, like also use what you know about this person and just check, do you want to sit in silence, do you want me to be here, like is that helping, and stuff like that, because sometimes the best help that we can give is to leave them alone. And in this way, in this approach, you want to approach yourself when you feel this heaviness. And if you just have to sit with you for a whole day, a whole week, maybe a whole month, I've done years. Truly, not over exaggerating. Yeah, okay. We're gonna take it as it comes. And be there. So, I pulled cards before, like I was already yesterday, I felt like there was like this push, like do your video, do your first video, do a reading, restart this channel. And I was kind of yeah, okay. And then at the same time, resistance. And today I felt this from the first moment. Do it. So I pulled cards for myself, and then I kind of did intuitive writing, which was very interesting. And I want to share this message. The headline is actually a two-part thing. They're directly connected. It's like the headline and then the headline. So first is your heart is a portal and is the portal. And the other one is a question, which is perspective. Which perspective are you asked to change? So I'm going to read what came out. I noticed more and more about over the past years that English is the language that wants to be used for me. I do enjoy all the languages, I always have. English came in very early. I had the most lovely English teacher, first English teacher that I could have wished for. And so it was interesting that it naturally, because I started in German and then it came out in English, and that was pretty interesting. So, okay, I'm going to read. You might be the chosen one, but this is bigger than that. It has always been bigger than that. Today is not the day to give up. This life is not the life you are giving up. This life is the life in which you give it your all, in which you cannot help but feeling the light arriving, even in the darkest of times, the darkest of your reality. Do you know why? Do you know why? It is time you release and realize that it is souls like yours in these times. You came here as a light beam. So naturally, when you look around, you might see only darkness. Your mission is to shine brighter, even brighter. As you are experiencing this quest in human form, what is most challenging is trusting in these inner feelings, this lingering knowledge of this galactic meteor shower of light. Be soft with yourself. In a world where spoken language is abused and the abuse covered by idlehood, your soul's strength is under the utmost tearing forces, as its frequency and native language is energy. And one thought that I had while writing that I noticed that didn't come down, but I was reminded now again, is the reason why you feel like if you in the collective that this is for, you probably very early on, if not from the first moment you can remember, saw the darkness all around you. You might have had experiences as a child where you felt it, saw it, or over the other clairsentience, clairs, and what they told me is basically why, because I'm in this collective for sure, and this devastation, the devastation that you see only darkness is because it's so not your nature, because you are the light, and because you as the light being that is arriving here and assisting this at this time, for personal development of this soul part, like this fraction of energy in the universe, as well as a grander scale. What I've been showing like lately, again and again, is like this click, 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 click. It's like mechanic systems that are like just working like clockwork, and then it slows down, click, click, and then the final click. And this is when the hour changes and maybe a new day begins, and it's always darkest before dawn. So the reason why you can see this much darkness is because you are a light being, and the contrast is so huge from your natural frequency, so huge that it's so obvious. And we all, because everything, even, and I know this is so difficult to understand at times, or if it doesn't resonate, just leave it. But in my experience and what I've been taught by my connection to the spirit realm, to the universe, what I've been repeatedly explained is that in order to experience itself, the universe needs to have everything. Imagine, that is actually from a very beautiful track on Spotify. I think it's Alan Watts, if I'm not mistaken, who's talking about, imagine you could dream whatever dream you would like. And every dream would feel like 70 years or more. You would start with different dreams, like one more beautiful than the other. And you would dream away, and you would dream away. And at one point, it would be so dull, because you would have experienced everything that is positive, and from that point on, it would be only repetition. So you go like, maybe if I add just a little bit of chaos, just a little bit, that would be interesting. And you dream that. And from there, you kind of get more courageous, and you try more and more and more and more and more. And maybe you at one point choose to dream a horrendous nightmare, because you know you are safe. But in the dream, you will feel like, oh my God, what is happening? No, help, I want to get out of here, and stuff like that. And you can whenever you want to, in a way. And that's what they explained to me. We need everything in order to have everything. Like, in order to have really, 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 really wholesome experiences, the sensation of an wholesome experience needs the experience of the lack of wholesomeness, the contrast. And that's why a lot of people who are currently living a life where they're the beams of light, they have a start that is very dark, because they learn to appreciate. So everything is about learning to appreciate yourself, and this is a very heightened experience of that. And they learn to first of all recognize themselves as, why can I feel that darkness? If you would be of the same matter, you wouldn't notice, because you just wouldn't. There would be no itch, no spark that would say like, why is that? Why do I? Because you would just flow. Everything would be like you, so there would be no tension, nothing. And from there, you start your quest of discovering what it is that is so different about you. For me personally, just sharing, it was a lot about the question. I always had this feeling that I love who I am. There was like this, it was untouchable always, and it is untouchable. And still, I would stick out, even if I would try to not stick out. And it was exhausting. And so I started to question, am I so different? Aren't the others aren't they doing the same as I do? Or am I not doing the same as they are? I don't get it. And in the same time, it was so interesting, or is so interesting, because I noticed I was angry with adults very early on, like 1 or 2 years old. I remember. And in the same time, I felt like I'm just like everybody else. But I wasn't. Never will be, and thank God for this life. Another life I will appreciate to be just like everyone else, maybe like, or rather, like, no one is like everyone else. Actually, an illusion, but like this average, like being happy in the average and satisfied there. So yeah, that sparked this discovery, and then I by the age of 24, 25, I hit rock bottom. Bottom. I don't know. I hit rock bottom with the sleepiness of, am I really different? Oh, why am I different than others? Why does it work for others and why doesn't it work for me? Why do so many people feel triggered by me? Why do I feel so triggered by so many people? All this kind of stuff. So yeah, and from there it changed. It changed, and it still is, and I feel like this was one big chapter, and now an even bigger chapter is starting. And if you resonate with this message, you probably going through something similar, if not same. I mean same, but yeah, you in your own way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I think I will do the reading separately. Leave this as a channel message. I like that this, actually I like it. I like that my first video is a channeled message. You guys, and if it's just one person or just me, hello. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'm excited how this journey will go. I have been aligning with a lot of people lately that started their channels, and I just watched like thousands of people joining the channel from baby shoes to now, and I was at all. So I trust that there is a reason. Not saying that this is happening here, but it could, and maybe someone is enjoying it. And if it's, as said, just me, this is really good. It really lifted my spirit. When I started the video, I was, and so it's already a success. If you are as curious as me, what will come through this channel, I invite you to like, subscribe, comment. Until then, much love.